Mm.
Okay, well, I'm going to start. Try to catch up with others that are coming in. I will share my screen.
There you go.
See these cute little ducks in my Photoshop screen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Today, and sort of follow on from last session, I want to show and see and hear how each of you view an image. I've talked a lot about composition and have shown various tools in Photoshop to enhance images. So I thought I would just bring up a number of images and see your comments on them, how you would react to them, how you would change them or not change them at all. You may say, no, this is really a good image, so that I can judge going back and teaching some of the additional, some of the tools, but also some of the new tools that are now in Photoshop, which are just fantastic. And if you have time near the end of this, I will play a 30-minute session that goes through the new features in Photoshop. They are amazing. So I'll show those to you. It's a video.
Great.
But on this image, tell me, what would you do to this image? Just give me some idea of what are some of the aspects of this image? And this is really a basic image, but tell me what you would do. Anyone?
Flip the image and then resize it.
Resize it in what way?
Well, first of all, I would flip it
Okay, I'll do that.
horizontal.
And crop it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I mean, first of all, yes, and then crop it a little more.
Crop it in which way?
Start from the left under approximately top 3, then 4. Lop off the top 3 squares. Close them. Close the top 3 squares. Maybe not quite as much.
You're getting the right idea. You're going exactly where I
Okay.
wanted you to go.
And then maybe leave the right. I'm not quite sure whether we want to crop the right-hand side.
Yeah, well, let's talk about it. First of all, this is very basic image. You see where the PowerPoints are. You've cropped it from the left, and the PowerPoint here is right near the top of the mother's head.
Right.
This line is lining right up with all the information within the middle. So cropping was a great idea. Cropping from the right a little bit would be cutting off this part here.
Yeah, right.
Brownie crop, so I wouldn't necessarily do that. But look at the difference of just what we've done in the sense of cropping. And it's very important.
John,
Yes.
what about, I'm bothered by lower left-hand corner, but you might be too close if you crop it up more, but maybe try to clone in there.
Yes, good point. This is rather distracting down in this lower left corner. So what I would think to do is maybe crop some or clone some of this from the upper left down into here and so on. But yes, that's a good comment. See, it becomes, your eye goes there because you're looking for something. And it's.
But doesn't that give you a place to stand?
It does, but it's a very small one. So if it were more, I
Yeah.
agree. Yes,
So you
indeed.
could-
Very muddy too.
Yeah.
What bothers me is John's has taught me it's either in or out.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to be, I want to record this. This is wonderful. Yes, exactly that. Now, It's
John,
a
I
little-
wouldn't flip it
okay, let's take it back the other way.
because you need to be looking in Mummy Duck's face.
Yes, I think both works. My preference is this one in the sense of what you just said. And the lower right corner is not as distracting. Let me take it back the other way. You notice how that lower left corner is really
Mhm.
obvious? Now it is not as obvious. Why? Why?
Hmm.
Because your eye is
We're
from the
going
left.
to right.
Yes, exactly, because
Mhm.
you're reading left to right. Yes, very good. Now, the last thing I would do to this image,
Maybe go into camera raw now?
well, before we do that, let's just use levels, adjustment, brighten it a little bit and change the contrast just a little bit. We'll lighten it up a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
And that's all we've done to this image. So think about that in the sense of
Hmm.
cropping. You guys really have gotten into it. It's exactly where I wanted to go with this image. There are some other things we could do with it, but this is just sort of a basic image and you've keyed in on those important elements of it. So let me go to the next one. So you get an A for this part of the image. Hold on, my screen, I didn't get the screen right. What about this image? What is striking about it and what would you think to change?
Go into camera raw and use dehaze.
Yep, who said that?
Barry,
Yep. Why are you saying that, Barry? What is that? What will that do for us?
it'll help the sky a great deal.
Exactly. It will bring drama to the sky, which is a major part of this image. Anything else you would do while we're in Adobe Camera Raw?
John, this is Rebecca. I would
Yes.
not have done that to the entire image. I would have done that in Lightroom with a graduated filter and just applied it to the sky.
Good. Well, in Photoshop, by the way, there's a new feature. I'm not going to try to use it right now, but there's a new feature called Select Sky, and it will just select the sky automatically for you.
Really?
Wow.
Yes. But here I've selected the sky.
Yeah.
And we'll take it into Adobe Camera Raw. And remember, when you make a selection and take it into Adobe Camera Raw, it will work on only what you have selected. So I will do the dehaze and it will affect the sky
Yes.
and it will not have changed anything else. Look at the difference of what we've just done with that one step. Now, do you remember anything else that I've talked about of how to bring the eye into what you want?
Darken the foreground.
Darken the foreground, absolutely. Let's do that. And darkening that foreground would be mid-tone, soft brush, on say 11%. Run it across once very smoothly, run it across a second time, run it across a third time for me, and another maybe a fourth time, and maybe just on the left side here a little bit. Now let's look at the
Mhm.
difference.
Is it slanted a little bit to the right?
But
Say
now
again?
you also darken some of the sky that is touching.
Yes, I did. I
the
did. See,
land.
yes, good point. Because, why? Because my brush was so big that it was overlapping on the sky. Good point. So if
Oh.
you're burning, you need to burn with the brush that doesn't overlap the other. In this image, it would be easy to simply select this bottom part like this and go up to adjustment levels and move the mid-tone slider to the right.
Oh,
Ah.
that's nice. That was easier.
And
Just
it's much
smooth the look.
smoother and it worked only on that area and you don't need to worry about the brush overlapping onto anything else. A nice way to do it. Let's look at just the steps we've done. You believe that's how we opened it? And here we are. Why does that have any meaning to you? What works here?
Gives it more 3 dimensions, John.
Yes, exactly. It makes it more three-dimensional. There's one other change I would recommend related to the building. What do you think we might want to do with that?
I would brighten the
Do we
wood.
want to
flip
crop it to move it to left or the right?
Say it again.
do you want to crop it and move it to the either left or the right? Because it's in that center, right?
Yeah, well, dead center doesn't bother me in this case. One thing I would consider doing with the
Dodge the-
burn tool is to burn the building to make it a little darker, but I don't want to burn the whole thing. And if I come up and do shadows only, it will darken only the darkest pixels and make the building a little more three-dimensional.
Hmm.
Watch. See how flat it looks?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do it on the roof a little bit. Flat,
Better.
three-dimensional. Let's look at where we started and how simple the changes are that we made. One last thing that I would recommend. What about something in the sky? What do you think I might think to do in that sky area?
If this was the morning class, I'd say birds.
Good for you. Now, I would like to darken just the blue in the sky, just to bring out a little more of the drama. And also the sky is still very bright. So I could do that selection again of the sky.
Could you saturate it a little more?
Could even do that. I could, let's go to, there are a couple ways to do this, as always in Photoshop, number of ways to do the same thing. But in this case, one of the things I want to do is to darken the blues. And if we scroll down into the color mixer, it has three settings: hue, saturation, and luminance. And if I click on luminance, meaning the brightness and darkness, and I click on the little targeted adjustment brush in the upper right of there,
Target.
and then put it in the blue and move it to the left, it darkens that color only. And picks up any other subtle, like it picked up a little bit of the purple. So let's look at what I'm talking about, how much more three-dimensionality. That's what I'm always going after, is three-dimensionality.
That looks much better.
Now let's look at where we were. And the reason I used this image was to see about the steps that you all are doing very well, that I've taught in the previous classes, to how to bring out three-dimensionality. This image really has an impact now compared to what we,
There's one small problem. The blue of the sky in the cupola is a lot lighter.
yes, and I could have, good one, good one. So when I made a selection of the sky, as I did here, and I noticed that that wasn't in there, I really could have gone back with my quick selection tool, made it smaller. And you see there's a little plus sign in it. So I could add that in there, but I want to remove the roof itself. So if I hold the Alt or Shift key, the Alt or Option key, I can remove that from the selection and have just the sky in there. And that's how you could do it.
Also, not to be picky, but can you level the whole thing a little bit?
I thought so too.
It's level. It's level.
Which way? Tell me which way. Yes.
Up a little on the
I
right.
think on the right, a little bit up.
Okay, good. So the way to do this, select all, edit, transform. Let's do distort and move the upper right corner up a little bit, and it will be that. Or move this one up. And that isn't doing it. So I will go to edit, transform, warp. That gives me more handles to use without affecting the other parts of the image.
Right there. Mhm.
It affected the building.
It is affecting the building a little bit more. And the way you can keep going in this is up in the options bar, default, you can get 3x3, 4x4. So now when I'm changing something over here on the right, it's changing only that quadrant. You see how that's doing that?
Mhm.
So you guys are on the right track, and these are the tools that we will go through again in future classes. But I wanted to see if you were understanding why the tools are there. One of the things for me is I'm not trying to teach you tools. I'm trying to teach the use of the tools to bring a certain effect on the image. The presentation of the image is the end result, not the specific tool. And in Photoshop, many of the times, multiple ways can be accomplished. A particular change can be accomplished in many ways. I just wanted to see if you guys are paying attention, and you are. That's great. All right, let's go to the next one. What would be the first step to take in this image?
Dehaze it.
Flip it.
I thought somebody was going to say delete it.
No, I said dehaze it.
Dehaze it.
Yes, dehaze it. Yes, exactly. Thank you.
I'm sorry, John, I would never say that to you, love, not your photos, my own maybe. Sorry.
Keep in mind, by the way, that this is a small JPEG. It's not the original RAW file. So when I make some changes here, excuse me, when I make some changes, you're going to see some effects in the sky overall. So let's dehaze it. And you see, it actually is some color up in there. And here's what I mean by, here's what's happening is this gradation effect is because of the small art JPEG. And in the new Photoshop, there's a feature that removes that kind of problem. It's stuff they have come out with in the new Photoshop. And in the next couple of weeks, I will go through some of those. But at the end of this lesson, we will see the list of the things that they've added to Photoshop. And one of the things that struck me when I saw the video that I will show you is that Adobe has competed very strongly now against Luminar because they've now added a replace the sky. They've added a remove aspects like what you're seeing in the sky here. There are many tools that they've put in that are just super. So in any case, here's this one. Let's do the exposure just a little bit to bring it down, to bring the sky down, and then open the shadows so that you get the foreground to have good detail and a little darker in the upper part. And look at, by doing that, again, forget the gradations up in the sky, but the idea of what has been accomplished with just two simple steps in Adobe Camera Raw. What about flipping it? Would you or would you not?
I will.
See what it looks like.
You think it works better this way?
No.
I like it better.
I think it looks better.
Yeah.
You start on the left corner and build up to the right corner.
Yes. Now, one last change on this one, we'll move to another one, is does the amount of space in the sky affect you in any way or bother you in any way?
Maybe a little too nothingness on the left.
Suppose we,
Well, it depends if I want to have those rainbow colors
yes,
in the
Let's-
photo,
let's-
then I would not crop it. If I don't want the rainbow colors, then maybe you want to eliminate.
no, you've hit it. So how can I keep them but make it smaller?
Squish it.
Scrunch it, yes. So I use the rectangular marquee tool and then go to edit, free transform. and bring that down. Make it right about there. Select, deselect, and then crop. Look how much more you see that structure, and these are called tufa. This is in California in Mono Lake. Watch
Tufa?
the difference here. Now go back to the full image. Scrunching that down has much more impact on it. You've done well, folks, done well.
John, on that one, why didn't you just turn down the highlights as opposed to reducing the exposure on the entire image?
What I've noticed is that some of those, first of all, the answer is you could do either. I've tended to go to the steps that I've shown because I've seen a better effect
Okay.
of those steps than doing it the other way.
Okay.
But certainly that
You
could
could
be,
do it either way.
yeah.
Okay.
So what about this image? A number of things right up front, I hope that you refer to. What
About flipping it.
That's one, and it's one because it reads better, won't it? It will certainly read better that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, what else?
Well, dehaze.
Maybe.
So if
What
we
about the
saw-
water? What about
I
the
put a little
water?
more drama in the water, darken just a little.
Well, we could do that, but there's something more important to me.
John, it's Rebecca. You have a white balance issue.
Yes, it's blue water. So we want,
Nobody has influenced my photography more than John Mariano. I'll tell you that right now.
oh, it's blue, it's sad, it's blue.
Sad, it's blue, right?
Yes.
So
So before, let's try the dehaze first. Let's do that, which will bring much more drama into it. Look at that. Look at the value of just
Wow.
bringing,
It's still
see the
blue.
three-dimensional?
Yes,
Really something.
Mhm.
Now, up here in the, yeah, let me do it again. Here's the dehaze, and that's all I've done to it. On the right-hand side now, they have some tools. I'm sorry, it's not there. It's right above. See where my cursor is, where it says basic? And it says white
Mhm.
balance
Right.
as shot, and you have the little eyedropper. If I click on that and come over to where the blue area is and just click, it corrects the blue throughout. It does a white balance correction.
Wait, where did you click?
I'll show it to you. Let me go back. See the white balance as shot, and I have the little eyedropper.
Oh, yeah, I do
When I
now.
bring my cursor over, let me click on it. When I do that, when I bring cursor over, it's an eyedropper, and I'll click anywhere that's sort of a mid-tone color. So right here, rather than the dark blue, just the lighter area here, I click on that, just click it. Yeah,
It changed colors totally.
overall, that's correct. Let me go back here, and if I take the eyedropper and click on one of the darker areas, it does it, but not as much. So it still whitened all this, but it didn't affect the rocks as much. So you just play with it a little bit to see which one. But the key on this image, and the reason I had it in there, was to show the blue water and say that just isn't acceptable. Now, what about the shadow areas here?
Open them up.
Using what?
I have no idea, John. That's why I take your class.
Well, click on shadows, move it to the right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Increase
move the
Yes.
shadows to the right.
Good answer, though. Yes.
increase the
Black
light
slider
a
also,
little
right?
bit.
See, I opened up the shadow area here on this rock and this rock, just by moving the shadows. Now, it may be a little too bright overall, so let's just lower
Bring down
the
the
highlights.
highlights. Yeah.
Yes, just a little bit there. Now let's
Maybe
take this
also,
back.
maybe also click on white and bring the white slider to
Yes,
the left.
that's right. In fact, let me take it back in there. Wow, you guys are good.
John, in the upper left corner, that little white piece sticking out of
Yes.
the rocks bothers me.
Absolutely. We'll get to that in a minute. Absolutely. And here is the white slider. We could move that to the right or the left. Just darken down the whites, just the pure whites. And that's a very subtle change here. See it very little, but it does have some effect. So keep that in mind. Highlights, shadows, whites. Look at what we had. Then we flipped it. Now look at the difference of those, just the few steps you guys recommended.
Wow.
Up here in the upper left, that is a bit distracting because it has that white space there.
Right.
So you could clone, I would prefer to do a select all, edit, transform, warp, and just take that upper one and move it up a little bit, because then I keep the same, all the pixels are there. I'm just removing that little bit of a white area, and I'm not trying to clone and make it redundant in any way. That's a much nicer way to do this, is to do it that way.
Mm.
Oh, I like that.
Now look, from all that we've been, from open to flip to here. What a difference. You did well, guys. You did well. Tell me your first approach on this one.
Foreground.
Pardon?
Open up the foreground a little,
Okay, how would I do that?
like you just did with that, go into camera raw. And then, oh, I get terrible memory, John. Yeah, that's it. Open it up by shadows. Yeah.
What a difference, huh? How about something else while we're here?
Sky, maybe?
Yes.
I would still dehaze.
Mhm.
Yeah.
makes
Oh, that's
sense.
better. Ooh, that looks great.
Oh, I love that.
How about
Drama.
Wow, we gotta bring up
vibrance?
the shadows.
How about vibrance? And vibrance increases the saturation of muted colors, where saturation does it over the whole image. And I don't want it over the whole image. I want it only in the subtle. So if I move that to the right, you see the trees open up and things. Now these, we've not done many steps here. Well, let's look at the major difference of that image to what there.
Wow.
Yeah.
John, would you repeat that about the vibrance, please?
Yes. About the which, I'm sorry.
Vibrance versus
the vibrance.
saturation.
Yes. Vibrance in an image, in any image, there are muted colors and there are very saturated colors. For example, up here in the upper right, those are very saturated. Down
Mhm.
here in the shadow areas, those are muted colors.
Right.
So the vibrance slider will increase the color of these and not affect these bright colors here.
Oh,
Saturation will do it over the whole image. You'll saturate
Right,
all the colors, whether they're muted or bright or not. That's the difference.
great. Thank you.
John,
Yeah.
can you do that trick with the warp on the lower right corner?
Yes, oh, good, yes, yes, good. So we will go to select all, edit, transform, warp, and I'll make it, instead of the default, I'll make it a 3x3 and just grab that corner and pull it out and down a little
Oh
bit.
my gosh, I love that.
I love that.
That way, you're not trying to do cloning, duplicate anything, all those aspects of those kinds of things. Select, deselect,
So much easier.
much easier.
John, can you remind me the difference between selecting free transform and transform
Free transform.
and just
Oh,
transform?
yes, okay, well, in a minute. Let me do
Okay.
that again because I didn't keep it.
Oh,
Very good.
hmm.
The difference between free transform and transform. Free transform, let me select all of this image and then go to edit free transform. And free transform will give me some handles to use. But those are the only handles I can use. I can't get more subtle things. I can move this around and stretch it and do things.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go to edit transform, it gives me multiple ways to change it. Gives me scale, rotate, distort, perspective, warp. Now I have multiple ways to be able to change or move elements within the image rather than dealing only with the outside portion. To see what I can do?
Ah,
here?
yes,
Oh, wow.
yes. Wow.
So when you get somebody's portrait and you want to move their mouth around, you can do that. But transform gives you multiple options. Free transform, you can only do the sides and the top, the sides, or the corners. That's it. But sometimes that's all I need is just to do that.
Right.
For example, in the squishing or scrunching, let me do that here. If I wanted to scrunch, and I wouldn't on this one, but if I wanted to scrunch the bottom part of this image, I do the rectangular marquee tool and go to edit free transform, because I don't need anything else other than these handles. And then I can just move it.
Oh,
Gosh, that's
Okay,
gotcha.
so in
Thank you.
landscapes like this, you don't need a place to stand? Is that so?
Well, it would have been nice, but I'm up on the side of a mountain here. And yes, so this one works though.
Oh, could you hang off? No, I'm kidding.
I'm going to show you something that is in my volume 2 that I've just redesigned for this new Adobe Camera Raw format. So I've got to show it to you, but I'm going to show it to you. First of all, I would do a few more things to lighten up the trees in the foreground. So I will use the dodge tool on, let's try highlights. And just open those trees up a little bit more.
Oh, I like
Yep.
that.
Hmm.
Look at the difference.
right.
Hmm.
And maybe use the sponge tool on saturate in the same area. And I have it on vibrance also, which means it will saturate and lighten at the same time.
Hmm.
Look at that.
Wow.
Now, this is going to blow your mind now. And this is in volume 2. I'm going to take it into Adobe Camera Raw. Down here in the calibration, see all these little sliders? If I take the hue and move it this way, and the saturation of yellow this way, and then the blue this way, I turn it into an autumn scene.
What? Oh, can you do that again?
No.
Oh,
Yes, it's in volume 2. Here it is.
oh, I'm getting that. I've ordered mine.
Yes, let me lighten this up a little bit more. I've never
Excuse me.
seen this anywhere. I just ran across it many years ago, but I use it a lot. So here it is. I go into filter, camera raw.
Okay.
Anywhere I have a lot of green. And I go down to the calibration. And then move the hue, green hue to the left as far as you want. Just play with it. You can readjust these, and it's saturation green to the right. Then come down to the blue and move the hue to the left and the
Wow.
saturation to the right. And now you can adjust how much autumn scenery color that you want just by doing this. Watch.
Wow.
What do you think?
It's amazing.
Wow.
Go back to the very beginning, please.
I'm amazed as well.
How about that?
Wow.
Wow.
And we came down to that, which was very good, guys. Look at the difference. And I threw this in as an example so that you can think through when you have a dark area and a light area in the sky, and you really want to open up things for the viewer to see them. And the way you saw them while you were standing there and you were really seeing this image, you wanted to do it that way. Then this subtlety of turning it into an autumn scene.
Hmm.
What would you do to this image?
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
See a little more.
Well, we're getting close to the end, so I'm going to jump just into it. I wouldn't do anything much to this image. I think it's a very good image. The only thing that struck me was not a place to stand.
Yes.
I might try levels just to give it a little different, more contrast, just a bit. From there to there. And maybe not, maybe it's pretty good the way it is. And the only reason I put it in here was to say, it doesn't have a place to stand. And you see the difference of how you're viewing this image than if there was some place down here where his signature is, or over on the left-hand side, something to stand there and it would make it more three-dimensional. It's a beautiful image, beautiful image.
Mm-hmm.
What should we do to this?
Oh, my.
Crop it.
In from the left. to start
Absolutely. Yes, crop it. Why?
bring more focus on the face.
Exactly.
It's about the animal, not the stuff behind it.
Oh,
Yes,
the eyes are dramatic.
exactly. Right. In fact, working this almost as a square, and you see the PowerPoints where they're located now, related to the animal itself.
Yeah.
One
John,
last thing.
I would also do I call it the magic wand adjustment in Lightroom. I don't know what you call it in Photoshop, but where it's just a focused area, and I would take those 3 lines to the left, or actually 4 if you look up in the upper left corner, and I would blur those more and darken them down.
How about if we take them out altogether?
Oh, I'm okay with that too.
Yes, and why would you do that?
Because truly they are distraction. They create leading lines,
Yes.
something that you don't really want to lead the eye to see.
Right. They're actually distracting from the animal itself, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And anything that is going to take the user's eye away from what you want them to be seeing, certainly eliminate them, darken them, whatever. In fact, The last step I would do on this one, because everything in here in the face is really so good,
Yeah.
is to get the burn tool, just darken the background, because
Mm,
that will allow the foreground to stand out even more. And this highlight
Oh,
area
yeah.
here, right under the face, let's darken that area. And even the back body, let's just darken that a little bit.
There
Oh.
seem to be a couple of spots on the animal's face on the right-hand side and the ear on the left-hand side, which are too wide and don't show enough clarity. So,
Yes, good, good. I agree.
yeah, that one. Yeah.
In fact,
oh,
let's take it into Adobe Camera Raw and use one of the sliders, highlights or whites, and see what it'll do with it. In the basic tab, let's try the whites. Yeah, that brings detail back into it.
Right.
mhm.
Look at that.
Bump the
What?
shutter.
Wow.
Well, let's go back to where we started, and you guys keyed right in on it.
Wow.
Mhm.
What a
Perfect.
difference.
different image.
By George,
John, would you get rid of that background altogether and
I would
choose
have,
another
yes.
background?
Yes, and in the future classes, I'm going, especially now with the new features they have in Photoshop, I will teach you selections and subject selection so that you can then have the animal selected and reverse it to get the background or whatever you want. Just so
Okay.
good questions. Good questions. All right.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
What would you do?
Wow.
Nothing. Put a frame around it.
I love it.
Print it and put it on the wall.
Yeah.
I'd bring that ray that's coming down to the gal and do something to make it more
Enhance it.
enhance it. Thank you.
It really is a beautiful image, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yes.
perfect.
And I wanted to point out on this image, see how you can see into the shadow areas here and in the tree and all those aspects.
Mhm.
And to your question, Mary, or your suggestion of lightening this, you don't want it to be too much brighter than what her dress is here, but it probably could be a little bit brighter because you want that to not to compete with her.
Right.
That's how I see it. So
Mhm.
just lightening that a little bit. What about,
Okay.
since there other than the person's name, and I'm going to show you where I obtained these images. Suppose we,
Flip it.
yes.
Ah.
I think that reads
Mm.
better than that.
Mhm.
You're right.
Absolutely.
Does, yeah.
But what a beautiful image. Just look at all
Wow.
the highlights and the
But now I
shadows
don't
and
like
the
the pole
colors.
on the left. Is that a pole
And-
tree or whatever that is?
Lynn and I were having a discussion earlier today about images that tell a story. Not every image will tell a story. It should elicit an emotion, but this one does both. It
Mhm.
elicits an emotion and it tells a story. I believe it tells a story.
Mhm.
What a beautiful image. And flipping it, I think does improve it.
What's her telephone number?
That's funny.
I think we're going in the wrong direction here, guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my.
Oh, I like this.
Another nice images.
Mm.
What
I
are
like
the,
this,
I
John.
love this.
absolutely, and what are the great elements of it?
Left to right, you have a place to stand on.
Mhm.
Yes,
All
It's
blue.
three-dimensional
Blue
already.
water. We need to make the water
we
white.
do need to make the water different. That's right. How about
I like blue water. To me, it signifies cool and cold. And
Oh,
if you
that's all
sit by
right.
a waterfall like that, the mist is going to make you feel cold.
That's all right. I understand. How about if we just take a little bit of it out? Just a little bit. Let's try that.
Just a tiny bit.
And it has a, what you would call it, a branch over the top that pushes you down. I can't remember what you call those.
A bell?
A border?
Is that
It's a-
a bell?
John has a word for it.
It's a containment.
Containment, yeah.
Containment.
That's a
Containment.
better
And why is it done? Why do you think, my statement would be it's done really well. Why would I say that?
Because the hanging branch is pointing your eye right to the silhouetted man.
Yes, it does. It is. And it's not
And the
either
sides
in
are,
or, it's in, it's not on the
Right.
edge. For example,
one. It's in.
if somebody was going to crop this and they did it this way, that just doesn't work for me.
Right, I
It's in or out. No, 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 no.
It's
So-
in.
That's handled really well. Something else about the figure here.
Are you going to lighten him up?
Figure.
Mm,
You're not
It's
going
a
to.
dark figure against the white background.
Exactly. He's placed that person right where the highlight of the waterfall is.
would you highlight that rock that's behind him so that he stands out as the only dark thing?
Oh, yeah, that's a personal
Hmm.
preference. And look how he has the tree here, like dark against the light waterfall coming down in that area. The only thing I saw, there was one thing I saw that I would change on this image, and that's all. And it's so minor.
The signature?
Over here, this little
Oh,
rock,
yeah.
The black thing, yeah.
this little rock sticking right there.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore, it's gone.
I put my signature on it.
I was going to say the signature is what I'd remove.
John, how about
I
that
put mine
rock
right
on the very left-hand side of the white waterfall? My eye constantly goes to that black rock that.
Me too. I was just gonna say that.
Hmm.
This one at the bottom? or the
No,
one-
no, that
No,
one, that one.
that one.
How about that?
Mm,
No?
They want to get rid of
not
it.
enough.
Maybe a little
How about
composition.
how about if you can make it like the waterfall? Clone it from the
Oh.
waterfall.
Yes, you could actually do that. Could clone in. I want to go on to some of the other images, but look at the composition overall. Look how well this angle here leading down to these rocks, the horizon of the water, of the lake here, the place to stand, the containment, the placing of the person right at that location. That is really a superb image.
Print it, put it on the wall.
Okay, what would you do to this image?
Well, get rid of that rock on the right-hand side, for
Mhm.
one thing.
Dehaze,
Or flip that one.
dehaze first.
Dehaze, yes.
Flip it.
I have learned from you, John, I dehaze every image first and see what it looks like. And then I go from there.
Oh, my.
Let's open up the shadows.
Right. Open up the shadows and then
Flip it.
I wouldn't.
Flip, flip, flip.
Mm.
I want to see it from the other side.
Listen, if that's all we did, look at the difference of that. just
Wow.
Those steps.
Very nice.
I'm going to move on to something else, but I'm going to do a select all. And that rock over here on the right-hand side, let's
Mhm.
try edit, transform,
Transform.
warp. And let's go to a 4x4. So that I can just move that one part out.
Ah, Good.
And look what we've done. From there to there in 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Very effective.
Mm.
All right. I want you to see these changes in Photoshop. So I will go to, let me stop this, share. Before I go there, I will send this to everyone. Can you see the gal with the tattoo?
Yes.
This is a document that is a step-by-step of how to add that tattoo to her shoulder in Photoshop.
Oh,
I will send that out to my entire.
Wow.
wow.
It's so easy. The steps are laid out there for you. It's so easy to do. And you see it uses a mask and then it warps it around her shoulder. See, it uses the transform warp to warp it around her shoulder. So I'll send this to you this week. Send it to everybody.
Better than having a real tattoo.
Not saying a word.
No. Not seeing what I want here. Be patient, folks.
While we're waiting, I'll just say that I am a retired attorney. And after my very first workshop with John Mariana, I declared that I would never, ever trust a piece of photographic evidence ever again.
That's really funny.
All right, I think I have it this time. Can you see this screen with the yellow pyramid in it?
Yes.
These are the 20 new features
Yes.
in Photoshop. Watch this video. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
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 What's
Oh.
the spring on it? Adobe.com, what's new?
Oh, we can't hear it.
I don't
You
hear the
can't hear
audio.
it?
Just I can see the video, but I don't hear the audio.
Same here.
Me either.
You
Yeah,
can't
no.
hear it?
No.
No.
Go down in the bottom corner, John, and see if click. No, it's on.
It's on.
Yeah, the thing says it's on.
Okay, press play again and let's see if it stays on.
Not hearing it?
His mouth is
No.
moving.
Catch up.
No.
Turn on the closed caption. Maybe we can still figure out what he's saying.
Oh, good idea.
Where is that?
At the bottom of all your two, there you go.
CC.
The CC.
The CC on the bottom right-hand corner, John.
It'll put the words down there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do it in French.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is on the iPad.
We should be able to just copy the URL and go there ourselves,
Yeah.
I think.
That's what I was about to start, except I can't.
Say again?
Just copy the URL and send it to us, John.
I will. Yes, I will send this to you because this is worth watching, and he goes through them fairly quickly, but you'll be amazed. Let me back up here.
All the things you can do.
Look at this. They have a new feature on selecting subjects, so that will be one of our topics in the future.
Mhm.
They've improved it tremendously. Then they have object selection tools to make it even easier doing that. Curves, working with the curves, refining the edges of things, some really neat features. They also now have replaced the sky, and it puts in just the way Luminar does of putting in skies. It puts the sky in for you, and you can have your own sky folders of skies and put them in. So we'll go through some of that stuff as it's coming up.
Is
Do
there
you
a
still
video
need
also?
Luminar? Does Luminar still have something extra? So you don't really need Luminar for skies anymore, right?
You will not need Luminar for skies. I guarantee you, you will not.
Did Photoshop put one out also like for features in the Camera Raw?
Yes, yes.
Is it on this video or it's a separate video?
Let me think here. No, it is not on this one. You should probably go to YouTube and just search for new Lightroom features or something like that. I don't
New
do it
Camera
because I
Raw.
don't use Lightroom that much. But there's also
No,
another-
not Lightroom, Camera Raw.
Oh, Camera
Adobe Camera
Raw.
Raw.
Oh, Camera Raw. No, he goes through Camera Raw.
Oh, he
features.
does?
Yeah, he'll go through some of them.
Okay,
And
thank you.
there's another fellow who is just super, Colin, C-O-L-I-N, Smith. And if you YouTube Colin Smith and see his, but I will send you some of a URL for those also. Colin Smith goes through these new features in Photoshop. And in fact, one of the things that he improved, or something I've done in the past, which is put a shadow on the ground. If you put some figure in an image and you want the shadow to be identical, what I will send you, he shows a very neat way to do those kinds of things. So lots to learn, some really good stuff, and I'll send it out. I won't just send it to the people who are here today. I'm going to send it to my general email list. So you'll be able to get it and click on it and do what you need. All right?
Yep.
Great.
I just logged on YouTube. There's a whole bunch of new stuff.
Yes, there is.
Yes.
I'm really pleased with what you've done today. And in fact, we didn't really go through all of the image, so I may do some of that in the future related to some of the new tools. But you were hitting on exactly the features that I wanted you to get out of those images. So
John,
I
what's that
think
guy's,
watching. Go ahead,
Pardon?
Davida.
what's that guy's name? Because when I clicked on, there was all different people.
Colin, C-O-L-I-N.
Okay. Smith, S-M-I,
Smith,
like,
S-M-I-T-H.
oh, Smith. Okay. Good.
What I was going to say was, I think watching you, especially, in the beginning, showing us the different features and tools and working with them and telling us why you were doing it, it's made it so, at least for me, so that I can look at the photo and I think about what you've done and I can notice those things now.
Yes, well, thank you, because that's exactly the purpose of today, and you guys did it. You did it well.
I just put a
Yay.
link to the Lightroom new features with Colin Smith in the chat box for everybody.
Ah.
For
All
those,
right, folks, we're
those
gonna
of
go. Take care.
John, you were great as always. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
See you
Thanks,
next week.
John.
Bye, John.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, John.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.